So today we're going back to the future of all of the real estate eras of Maryland real estate. And what I need you to know is it's a lot of content. If you're not already, make sure you hop onto our blog on frankoliverco.com under additional resources. You can go to the blog. If you haven't heard it before, you heard it now. There's a lot of content, so I'm going to apologize because I'm verbatim going to be reading. If you go way back to the 70s, this obviously predates myself, my real estate knowledge, so this is all research oriented. Hopefully all of our real estate agents out there kind of give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, a share, because I wasn't here. So if you go back to the 70s, we were riding the inflation wave here in Maryland. The average home price was down around $30,000, which is crazy to think about. And by the way, for those of you out of state or out of town, you can totally buy a house for $30,000, and you can even buy a house for $3 here in Baltimore. Anytime you want, I'm more than welcome to show you. It's a great opportunity. But in the 70s, we saw inflation surge over the decade. It was about a 12% increase for the years of the 70s. It was a major market shift in Baltimore. There was a lot of things happening. Obviously, we know about the shipyard, the iron workers. There was a lot of changes that were going on, really promoting a lot of real estate in Baltimore and in Maryland in general. Then we went to what we call the skyrocketed rates. And if you know anything, I remember my parents bought their first house, and my mom told me how great of an interest rate I got because her rate was well over 18% for her first home. So the skyrocketing rates era of the 80s resulted in median prices increasing, but also plateauing in the $50 to $60 and sometimes even $70,000 range, which is significantly higher than where it was just 10 or 15 years before in the 70s. Now we had a lot of seller-driven market dynamic and market boom from generational change that ultimately led to the 90s, which was the stability years in Maryland. And if you know anything about the 90s, we went into the tech boom era. There was a lot of change in the culture of America. But if you know anything about Maryland, there's not a whole lot of tech locally, or there wasn't until the 2000s. So there wasn't a huge change in market value in the 90s, just more of that stable rise. As we know, the real estate market rises on average between 3 to 5% per year nationally, and our market saw about a 9% market rise in the 90s as we turned to the millennia. Now, when we did get to the millennia, we were at a drastic change. We were showing a much higher average market price. And remember, if you were in real estate or if you were alive or a homeowner in the millennia, you certainly know what happened in the 2000s, where people were buying a house, sitting on it for 6 months, turning it around, selling it for a significant increase in value. We ended the millennia, 2010, at a huge market increase. And what we're talking about is average home value went from where we were in the 90s in the mid hundreds to $300,000 average home value here in Maryland. Now, we did see a huge decline in 2009 and 2010, and we all know that, but we also saw interest rates plummet with the change of the real estate market, where we got into recovery and refinement, which was the 2010s, the teens, if you will. That's where I got into real estate. Recovery and refinement was marked by a lot of change. It was marked by legal landscape changes and lending guidelines, which didn't exist before. For some of our mortgage lenders, like our preferred lender, man, Ryan was probably still in high school at this time. But we got guidelines like TILA and RESPA, these guidelines that kind of gave us some direction in the real estate market. What we saw in 2010 was an average price point, an average market value, and just kind of stability and stable rise. Our interest rates were in the 4s, 3s and 4s. We saw a lot of 4.125 back then. We saw a good amount of 3.5, and if you had great credit, you were approaching that 3% number. But it became a buyer's market where the market shifted drastically after the market crash. The 10s, the teens were a huge buyer's market here in Maryland. Now, that's when I got into real estate, so this is what I know. And as we turned into the pandemic age, the pandemic surge, and where we have today, we're calling it a period of market tightness. We've got great growth. We've got great trajectory. We know that the 2020 led us to some historically low rates of like 1.99 for some of our clients, like the Svercheks, who I'll never forget sitting at that table. They got like 1.7. I've never even seen numbers like that, and I'll never see them again. But that was COVID market. And now as we come out of the COVID market, we're in a tighter position where housing values are significantly increased. We're at an average market share of $420,000 across the whole state. So don't shoot me. We're not talking market to market. Across the whole state, we're seeing a $420,000 average. We're seeing interest rates as low as 4% and certainly as high as 7 and almost 8%. Some of our investors are getting locked in at 8.5%, and that's okay. What it means is it means market is growing. It means there's opportunity. As the banks become tighter on their interest rates, it means that there's a lot of opportunity to generate something for yourself. Remember, when the world is on fire, the rich people buy real estate. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, I'm going to wait until the interest rates go down, well, what's going to happen to market value? Now, what we see in the next couple of years is a continued proliferation of market tightness. What we hope to see is a little bit of a softening in interest rates, but ultimately, we just don't know where the market's gonna go, except we have good advice to lead that the market is gonna continue stable and consistent growth. We're gonna see median home values grow across our network. We're gonna see home improvements make more of a comeback as real estate values continue to be aggressive. And we're gonna see sustainability become huge as we're looking towards getting towards a balanced market. Now, I'm not sure if we're ever gonna get back to a buyer's market here in Maryland. Sorry, I got flip-flopped in my brain. But what I do know is we're going to be getting a little bit more inventory as we go into the spring. More of these post-COVID consumers are trying to make their next transition, and we're helping so many of them today. If you haven't thought about it, now is the time, because if you're looking to make a transition, you need to be looking 3 and 6 months ahead. And if you're not, you're just going to be 6 months farther along, wondering what's going to be the next step, looking for a real estate agent that you trust, and we've got one right here for you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the link below, and we'll talk to you real soon. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.